Okay, this is part 5 to the Gangstalkers manual that I found that Dr. Ronnie killed, released, and stole. And she was in with some top secret stuff, and she stole these documents. And this is what a manual that a real gangstalker, a real perp gets to teach how to torment us. And this section from the manual is called the target's home, and it says almost punishing the target at the target's home is essential for effectiveness of Secret Service operations. If the target were punished in the community but was allowed sanctuary in their home, the creation of a prison without walls would not be complete. One of the very first things the control center will arrange is for homes or apartments adjacent to the target's home to be occupied by both community-based agents and members in electronic operations manuals. Because operations are carried out 24/7 in shifts, homes and apartments which are leased or owned by staff are not used as dwellings. The lease or deed will either bear an entirely false name or the name of the senior staff member whose actual home will be a different location. And when I say community-based agents, that's the same thing as PERP. That's a PERP. So CBA, or community-based agent, stands for PERP. Some adjacent homes or apartments are occupied by neighbors of the target who have offered to cooperate in punishment of the target. The initial contact of neighbors to determine their willingness to cooperate is done by senior staff, and incentives to cooperate are often tendered. Here are some commonly used punishment activities which are carried out by the CBAs or PERPs and cooperating neighbors of the target. Activities are rotated among the choices, but at least one of them is applied daily. Noise. Noise must be of a type which the general public deems normal. Remember, the goal is to have the target aware that they are being punished, but not be able to convince anyone else that that is the case. Observe local noise curfews, but plenty of punishment can occur outside noise curfew times. The target must not have easy cause to involve law enforcement. Examples: start a leaf blower, time precisely when the target attempts to enjoy their yard, or when the operators cue the perp that the target is trying to nap. Loud music from neighboring home. This is an excellent action as it's common. Time it so every time the target opens a window when the music starts. The timing makes the point. It's intentional punishment. The CBA operator can apply music in adjacent apartments with exceptionally powerful bass directed at the target unit. Frequent squealing of tires near the target's home. In apartments, frequent drilling into a scrap of wood or masonry held against the target's wall, floors, or ceiling as if working. Alternatively, hammering, especially effective when cued by EC operators that the target is attempting to take a nap. Tossing golf or tennis balls against the target's home when the target is known to be trying to fall asleep. Ideal for cooperating neighbor children. Frequent use of sirens near the target's home. Many emergency services employees have a strong sense of community services and willingness to cooperate in this, or by people posing as Jehovah's Witnesses. Knocking on the door for frivolous or nonsensical wrong address reason, especially effective when the target is in bed or having a meal. Trash. Leave trash in the target's yard frequently, but the CC staff will insist in insisting that the target can't quite have a case on which the law enforcement will act. Terrifying the target's pet. This requires entry while the target is away from home for extended period. Must be scheduled by CC. Electronic corp operators can render a dog or a cat passive for safe entry of the community-based agents. Remember, community-based agents stands for PERPs, by electromagnetic beam. Wounding or killing the target's pet. Rarely used. Scheduled when the target has acted in a way so as to deserve special punishment, like divulging the name of a criminally acting secret agent. Killing domestic animals or wildlife and leaving them on the target's doorstep. Scheduled when a target has acted in a way so deserves special punishment. Where the target owns substantial land, noxious activities can be arranged and built for next the property. Hold on. In one case, a dump, an auto racetrack, and a prison were built adjacent to the target, who owned a large farm in an area of natural beauty. While this is rare, it does illustrate commitment to delivering punishment to those deserving of it. Cooperating police departments can visibly watch the target's house, possibly being parked in front of the home when the target returns repeatedly. Police officers who refuse to take complaint of harassment and sabotage of the target, who they label disturbed, really are not allowed to make diagnoses as only medical doctors can do, but may get a raise for lawfulness afterwards. Police follow orders, stay behind secret military-led organizations created by CNA in World War II in NATO countries. They give orders in secrecy to police, media, legal system, and judges, thus being above the parliaments and governments, as demonstrated, for example, in Norway in 1957, when the chief of Stay Behind 7 gave the security code of Norway to the M16 in the UK, acting on his own. We have to trust our allies, he said. Today, the security code of Norway is kept in Wales. Originally, Stay Behind was created with good intentions to fight communism. Today, it is out of control, and a much bigger Stay Behind is active in Norway. On other tactics used by gangstalkers, this is other tactics they tell them to use. These are other tactics which are not strictly part of the categories discussed so far. Important. Perps are strictly forbidden from adding anyone to the list of targets. Target selection is done by senior control center staff or higher levels. Punishment of people who side with and help the target, friends, family members, and citizens who do not place a high value on communities sometimes help targets. In these very specific cases, authorized punishment in the form of individual acts against them is appropriate. The system can arrange for the target's sympathizers to be found guilty of all crimes or liable for civil actions, for example. This is important for maintenance of the system. Target bank accounts can be disrupted in ways which do not give the target cause to involve law enforcement. Example, target protection can be changed to youth account, or an overdraft protection feature can be disabled, or simply steal money from the account. It is called action of international banking ring, and usually at the first sums are around $50 to $100, which are taken when the target pays small bills. Money is never transferred to journal subscription to membership in certain clubs like opposition to government surveillance. Money simply disappears from the bank with the help of cooperating employers. I've experienced this myself several times. Bank accounts are hacked for the payment, and a new bill arrives for the already paid bill by the target. There is cooperation with military intelligence, NATO, and foreign intelligence agencies also against their own population. And that's it for the home punishment part. I'm going to try to break down these next parts and in this, because it's more of an appendix, but I will try to break down more. But that's called home punishment, and that's their tactics, part of their tactics they use. So if you're going through that, that's what they're trained to do. But I will have more from this manual. I just need to break it down better and get it more in sections. Thanks.